Today I'm going to show you how I animate in Procreate, and if that sounds like something you might enjoy, then stick around for after the intro to find out what exactly I'm going to be animating. Wait, we don't have an intro? Well, then I think it's time that we make one. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be animating an intro for my YouTube channel in Procreate. I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks and just show you my process on how I animate in Procreate, and hopefully I'm going to be coming out of this with a really cool intro for my YouTube videos. Alright, let's just get into the animating now. So before we go into the actual animation, I want to give a quick introduction if anybody has no experience with animating in Procreate. So basically what you do is once you have your file open, you go into settings, select canvas and activate animation assist, and then what it will do is transform your layers into frames, and you will see that at the bar down below here. And then you have a bunch of settings down there in which you can adjust the onion skins and the frame rate. So in the beginning I use around 9 frames per second, and once I start filling in frames, like in between frames is what they're called, I go up to like I think 14 or something, but it really depends on the pace you want to be working at. And then also you have the option to, if you go into layers, so basically every layer is one frame, but if you create folders and put multiple layers into that folder, then the folder is the frame. So you can still work on multiple layers for one frame. Okay, so now that out of the way, my process begins with drawing just in my regular sketching pen, which is the regular 6B pencil from Procreate, which everybody can have. And yeah, I decided to start out with this spin, which was basically, the idea was the camera spins around this character, which is me basically. And I don't know if that comes across so well. It kind of looks more like the character itself is spinning, not the camera spinning around the character. But whatever, it still works the way I want it. So I'm animating the spin, and while the character is spinning, I am lifting my arm to draw, and then it stops spinning. And at that point, I start drawing and I start writing kind of reverse out of the point of view of the character, but in the correct way for the viewer, which is us right now looking at this. And yeah, so basically I write down my name, Dao, D-A-U, which is my last name, but the first part of my username, Dao Creates. So yeah, that was basically the rough idea. So for that, I added in the letters DAU, and then just kind of animated along the letters, how somebody would write it from like behind the letters, if you know what I mean. And for that, what you can do in Procreate is actually add a foreground element, so it will show, or a background element, which is the very first and the very last layer have that option to do the foreground or the background element. And I did that as a foreground element at low opacity for the DAU, so I could have a guide for where this character would write the letters. So at this point I start adding in the line art, and I do this with a pen I made myself. I call it the not dry pen because it's kind of just an edited version of the dry pen, which is a Procreate pen. And if you're interested in that, let me know down below. I might make it available or something. I don't know. I like to use it. So basically I'm just going over all the frames, adding another layer on top of the layers and putting them into a folder so I can just work on top of them. And yeah, drawing what will be the final animation for me. It's a very sketchy look. If you watch this channel, you know that I like to draw very sketchy, so the animation will be a little sketchy as well, but for me that's not a problem. It just speaks of who I am. But yeah, anyway, that's the basic plan. And at this point, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do with this spin in the beginning. I had 2 different options that I was thinking of. The first option was inspired by this animation by whiskey_547 on Instagram, which is basically shows Freddie Mercury going through different phases of his musical career. And I like that, and I thought I could do the same with me, like me in different costumes of characters that I like to draw, because I think the main thing I do on this channel and I like to do is design characters. So I thought it would be fun, like going through different characters and then arriving at me to write it. So every frame being kind of a different character, or me in a different outfit as a different character. But I decided to go with the second option instead, which is kind of me evolving into a fully drawn character. So basically, the first frame being just a circle to indicate where the head would be, and then every frame from there on being a more developed drawing. So kind of the stages that I go through when I draw to create a drawing. And I felt like that would fit better with this channel, because it kind of represents what I do, because I show my process on here on this channel. And so I felt it would be good to show this animation, this character that I'm drawing here, go through that process of being created before I write my name on there. Yeah, so that's the option that I went with. And so the next step in my animation is creating the in-between frames. So I've drawn the main frames, and now I'm just filling in the in-betweens. For this, I don't have like a sketch down below. All I do is select the onion skins, have them activated, just the one before and the one after. And yeah, then you just kind of go between the lines, draw a frame of where the character would be and which movement the character would be in between the frames that you've already drawn. This is quite easy for something like the t-shirt or something, because you literally just have to go between the lines, the red and the green lines that you're seeing. It's a little more tricky for the arm or something, because the arm is doing the biggest movements, so it's kind of hard. But I feel like what helps is kind of determining like the biggest points and where the in-between of the biggest points would be. So I would see where's the hand on the frame before and where's the hand on the frame after, and then I would put a dot to indicate where the hand would be. And then the same for the shoulder, which is a little more like it doesn't move as much because it's kind of the anchor point on the body. And the same for the elbow. So I think the elbow and the hand are the most important things, and then you just fill in what's in between. At least that's what I did for this animation. I feel like the face is the hardest thing though, because the face, like an arm is always going to look like an arm, but the face is supposed to look like the same face as the one you did before and the one you did after. So I feel like that's the hardest. It's kind of, yeah, you kind of have to adjust it like every face for itself, and can't just go and draw in between, because it will end up mostly not looking exactly like the face you do before. But yeah, it just takes a little more work, but then it works out as well. So at this point, I'm coloring in all the frames, and I'm so glad I can watch this back in time-lapse right now, because if you're drawing this, at least for me, it's the most tedious thing. I know a lot of people like coloring in and like, I don't know, it's calming and it's repetitive and something, but I just find it so boring, and I wish I could have like time-lapse in real life and just time-lapse work on filling in all the frames of the character. Yeah, that would be a real treat. But anyway, so here you can see me doing it in time-lapse, and basically I felt for this it was the same idea. In the beginning, I'm kind of building myself up, so I go from construction lines to a rough sketch of the character to like the full line art, and yeah, the coloring would be a step of that as well. So the first frame would be just lightly colored in, the second a little more, then just the base colors, then just a grading over that, and then the shading. And yeah, here right now I am shading them all in. So this is a screen recording, because I didn't have battery at that point of time, so I just screen recorded this bit, and you see me going over the first frames again and making it a little more consistent. Oh, and also I do smears. So that means if you have movement, like for example, the hand is what moves most with me, and it's a very quick movement, then if you were to film it, it would only record so many frames. But if the movement is quicker than the speed of the camera, I mean, everybody knows if you move very fast and take a picture, then there's a smear, a blur, and I'm basically just trying to imitate that, and creating a smear of the hand, as if it would be moving too fast for a camera to take the picture of. And yeah, so I'm just filling in the last colors here. Just the same tedious work as before. Before I was just coloring in everything. Now I'm just going in and shading through everything. Again, very happy I can see this as a time-lapse, because I was getting pretty bored of it as I was doing it. And then this, I unfortunately didn't record it, but this is basically the process of how I added in the writing. So I had the writing of DAU, and then I just went back from the last
frame where it is fully written to the frame before where it is only halfway written and just erased out what would not be written at that point. And yeah, that basically until the very first line, until there is no sign of the written thing. So yeah, that's the process.
I couldn't be any happier with how this turned out. I added some sound effects and text effects and music in LumaFusion, which is the editing app that I use, and put together a really cool intro that you're gonna see from now on. But before I show you that, I'm gonna ask you real quick to leave a comment down below what you thought about this video, if you learned anything, if you have any tips that you want to share, if you enjoy my content, just anything you like. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more of this kind of content. And let's actually roll the intro now. Again, I'm so happy with how this turned out. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click here to subscribe to my channel. Find a playlist with other videos you might like here, and a video you might like right here. Okay, I'm just gonna stay here until you click something, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.